Hello, I'm Noir Vortex, and this is another vlog on Sea of Shadow. Sea of Shadow is a interactive fiction game that I've been developing for a few years really. We've got the first chapter done. I produced that using Twine, and I've been translating it into Unreal Engine on and off the last few months, but at the minute I'm currently aiming to speed up the process again and get back into it because I've been out of the loop for the last few months, so I thought I'd just showcase some of the development progress that's been made on the game and talk a bit about the general idea of the game and to just basically showcase some of it. As it is currently, so the game's a cyberpunk game, detective game. I need to do some more work, possibly on the some texture stretching and things, but basically at the minute I'm just kind of trying to get an idea of how to structure this environment. I've added in some environmental sound effects. So the game is an exploratory interactive fiction game, so obviously this is an early build at the minute, but basically you interact with the environment, you interact with people in the environment, so this is a character that's in there. It's your partner in the game called Max, because you play a detective and a kind of so I need to sort some textures out here and things, but I'm roughing it out at the minute. More something new that I've developed is interaction, so you can interact with the players. Some of it's not done yet, but some of it is, so we just started roughing that out. I'm probably obviously going to modify this so that you don't have to go through the same text again and again. At the minute it's just very rough. Each character there has got, so for the UI I've just added obviously the text, area for the text, response, added a focus so you can add on you can select what response. Also in general, the mouse pointer shows up, so hopefully you'll be able to click on objects. Haven't figured that part out yet, but at the minute I'm still developing this environment, making it look cool. I'm quite happy with how I've done the lighting in this, but it obviously needs to look a bit more alive, I suppose, and a bit more like just a generally. I've added in this character, but this is the murder victim, but not really done any more there. Working on adding a door here, but yeah. So I'll talk a bit more about what the game is about from a high end, higher margin more generally, I suppose. So like I said, you play a detective in this game and you've got to solve a murder mystery. So it's basically a murder mystery game in 3D, or an interactive fiction in 3D, because what I'm essentially doing is converting a Twine project into 3D. Now, I've talked a bit about this before in other vlogs, but I thought I'd just go over that again because if you haven't seen any other vlogs, then you might not know that. And I kind of decided that I'll try and be ambitious and build this in 3D. So the first chapter's done. The first chapter only really includes 2 scenes, so this is the first of that. Things to develop now include just developing the area in general and adding, so you can click on objects. At the minute I still haven't switched off the projectile, but I'll switch that off. I'm not sure if I'm going to really include combat in the game. I really want to make this a cerebral experience instead of a action game, I suppose. The whole point of it is going to be about the decisions you make affect the game world. It's not really going to be a shooting game. I could obviously include some action elements, but that's not really the point. So yeah, that's the build so far. That's how it's coming along. Yeah, so that's that. Leave comments if you have any feedback. I know I am aware of a few issues I have to sort out, such as like texture stretching, and that's because of the way of I've just put in like boxes and stretched them, and I think it's probably a better way to do this. But at the minute, most of it looks alright. I think. And like I said, I'm happy with the lighting. I just need to make these areas look a bit more like they're alive, and yeah, so that's that. Leave any comments you have below, suggestions for improvement, what you think of the game in general so far, and as in terms of it being a prototype environment, what you think of the conversation system, anything you think about that, some of the dialogue if you want to have a look at that. That's gone a bit off screen actually for some reason, so I'll have to solve that. I just noticed that one. So that'll be a problem with the widget and how I placed it, I guess. I've done the character design. I've done. I've had help from Oni on that as well, and then I've done the 3D part myself using Fuse, and then the animations and FBX is from Fuse as well. So animation loops. That's why he does his little kind of just I don't know what you call it, idle animation loop. But yeah, leave the comments below. I'm also going to cover in this vlog how I initially came up with some of the design ideas and little bits I did in preparation for the stage it's at now, which is the Unreal Engine build stage, which is basically stage 3 I suppose. I was going to put it in any logical order, which was, and stage 1 or 2 was basically gathering up bits of media from the world, so almost like cinematography I suppose. So I'll talk a little bit about that part of the process now. Some more concept art that I did a while ago, just to come up with ideas. That's a really old one. That's one of the first ones I did. Very quick sketch. It's just sketch the main character Trent. This is a bit of a quick look at how I plan stuff out. Obviously it looks like absolute madness probably to many people, but that's just my process. And that's planning out chapter 2. So obviously that's me basically planning the narrative and how it's going to proceed. Part of the development process for this game was I went out and basically took a bunch of urban photographs, I guess. I was living in Sheffield at the time, so that was useful because there's lots of industrial areas. So this is kind of more of well, at the time I wasn't sure exactly how we're going to implement these, but this is more to kind of get an idea for atmosphere. Yulia in Moscow also did some photographs, one of hers. So again, similarly, it's a very urban area, and you can get a feeling for someone kind of how to develop the level design and architecture. That's the reason I decided to start that process. And at the time, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to implement that, like as in, well, I still might even implement. That's from Moscow. There's kind of brutalist structures and mixture of graffiti. It's Moscow again. Little Moscow one. But yeah, this is useful for trying to get an idea for levels, just inspiration really for level design. Obviously not much of it's been implemented yet in the actual level design because it's just building the early environments currently. That's nice for actually. Yeah, this is an older band. It's got me a bit into urban exploration for a while. So this is in Sheffield. And yeah, so that is another thing. Oh, this is from Moscow. These are quite awesome photographs. Sort of Soviet structures within the metro system. And that's wicked. I love this photograph. Yulia did that, and that is again from the metro system. That kind of informed a lot, like how the kind of style I want for the lighting. Very ambient, dark, cyberpunk. I mean, it's quite established, but I mean, this is a great photograph. I love it. But yes, yeah, so that's kind of writing style. I inform that a lot. And then going out into the park in Sheffield where it's knew where I used to live. That's the kind of gloomy aesthetic. Helps inform what I wanted to do. So this is part of what I did was define things such as age, personality type according to Myers-Briggs, which I thought would be quite an interesting thing to do. So adding in a kind of personality trait list, and then gathering sources of for inspiration, I suppose. So the main player, which is the person you play in the game, is Terence. Added age, personality type, what different personality traits they have, their look. Max is the only NPC I've got in the game in a minute. Define him, he's a bit older. Got personality type, and I just think it's useful. This is your boss basically as well. I've developed more characters than this, but not put them into this format yet. Yeah, that's a useful thing to do, I think.